Alright, and welcome to another broadcast with DerkovRenault-Le. I'm actually going to go ahead and broadcast one of my friends. It's Eniad, the red Protoss in the 12 o'clock position, versus his opponent of Imp Demon down here in the 7 o'clock position. This is a bronze level league. I do cast games with friends and also try and go ahead and give them some pointers because we all want to be better gamers. And in all honesty, we all need to learn from, simple mistakes, and there's always a finer point that we can always find to go, hey, maybe I could have done that. It's going to be a pretty standard opener with both of these players, and it's actually a very interesting build. A lot of the builds down in the Bronze League are tactics that are actually taken from higher level players, and they just need to really be worked on and refined. As you can see, the red Protoss is actually going to go ahead and get his pylon on 10, which he does end up supply blocking himself, so with the extra minerals that he has, he's going to go ahead and get the assimilator in the top right. And the Terran is also going to go ahead and get his depot on supply of 11. Now during this time, you can always go ahead, and the typical time to throw down a supply depot or a pylon is at about 9 food, once you have the 100 minerals in order to go ahead and move over, and also to go ahead and move just a little bit sooner as well. The pylon placement could be a little bit better in pulling back. I don't know if Eniad was actually playing up against a random. If you're playing up against a Terran, you typically don't really want to wall in, because with the Marines they can get up on your ramp right up here, gain sight, and take down any buildings that you have up front and close, and also if they get siege tanks, it's very easy with a medevac or a Viking to spot it and start taking out key structures. Now Imp Demon is going to go ahead and he is going to scout the red Protoss base, and the SCV is just going to chill there. He does see that there are 2 gas geysers that are being assimilated at the moment, and one's being mined from with 3 probes. And also, if you go take a look at the blue base, you see the traditional Terran wall-off, 2 supply depots with a barracks, but we don't really see a whole lot of difference in harvester count. Eniad is pulling ahead. He is keeping his chrono boost low and chrono boosting out those probes. One thing I always do recommend is to go ahead and just put a probe on an SCV. If it is in your base, attempt to kill it, because if you kill a scouting worker, it does give you the 1 harvester advantage, and it can also frustrate your opponent that they lost their harvesting worker, their first scout. Again, the building placement could be a little bit better, but going up against a Terran, it is very hard to place your buildings so that they can't be sniped off. With the current placement, you might want to go ahead and place another pylon towards the back in order to still keep these buildings powered in case the Marines do run up the ramp and try and snipe off that pylon. Eniad is doing a really great job in order of keeping his chrono boost low, and he is going to go ahead and he is going to send out a scout. Now if we go ahead and go to his vision, right now he doesn't see what's being currently constructed, and he does know where his opponent is because his probe is coming down here in the bottom left hand corner of the base. When that happens, the AI usually says, hey look, there are buildings that are up here that are blocking your way and you can't get in. Let's see. And right now Eniad is focusing on his base back at home, and he finally goes back to his probe. We can see that by looking at his camera view here. And he's going to go ahead and he's going to run his probe up, and he sees 3 Marines that just popped out, and he also sees the second barracks here. With an opening like this, what you can assume is if they are going to go 2 racks aggression, you might want to go ahead and get a stalker, maybe a sentry, in order to make sure that your ramp is safe, and that should be able to fend off a 2 barracks aggression while you get your warp gates in. One of the best things that you can do is always focus on probes and pylons. Day9 states that in his daily, I believe it's daily 256 for the Newbie Tuesday. But other than that, the opening is pretty solid, it's pretty stable, it has a good transition. The warp gates are actually almost right on time, right at the 6-minute mark. With a 4-gate aggression, you typically want to be able to move out right at the 7-minute mark in order to go ahead and start pushing the Terran ramp. Now, right here, if you did see the 2 barracks and you haven't seen any type of Marine attack, running a probe to your opponent's base in order to see what they have is usually a good idea. That way you can see how many units they have and when they're going to attack, and also if they have any upgrades like Stim Pack, Combat Shield, and that can also go ahead and help you out with your army composition. Now Blue is keeping his minerals very, very low, and he has just gotten his orbital command, but he does have the mule that's just kind of sitting there going, I refuse to work. Blue is going to go ahead and move out with the Marines, and it is a fairly small ramp, so one force field can go ahead and keep the Marines at bay for quite a while. And as you can see, all 3 warp gates are currently on cooldown. This would be an excellent timing push for Blue to go ahead and move in, test the front door, and to see if he can go ahead and actually break it, take out the key pylon that's powering 2 warp gates, and also the cybernetics core in case there was something else that was upgrading there. And Blue is continuing to rally Marines. The Marines don't have stem pack, they don't have any type of upgrades, and it does look like that Blue is trying to avoid becoming supply blocked. Now at this time, even though that he is focusing all of his resources and efforts, getting a gas geyser for a few upgrades, even stem pack would be extremely helpful. Now I don't quite agree with the play of pushing out here with all of your stalkers, especially when you have the ramp. If you're curious about what's at your front door, go ahead and send a probe out, because the probe's only 50 minerals, and you would only lose the 50 minerals instead of the loss of the 275 for the Zealot and the Stalker. Now, it is really good. You do currently have the sentries, and with the sentries here, they're going to be able to go ahead and either block off the ramp or even provide the valuable Guardian Shield. The Guardian Shield is going to go ahead and it is going to reduce all of the Marine damage by 4, making it so that they're only dealing 2 damage. And with the armor of the Zealot and the Stalkers, the Marines are only going to be doing 1 damage a shot. You could have probably gotten by with only 1 force field here, but still, it's still a very strong play. You are delaying the initial Marine push, and when you see that this pylon is in danger, go ahead and also try and put another pylon here so that you have a pylon that is powering all 3 warp gates. Now Blue is continuing to try and push up the ramp, and he's doing a little bit of damage to the pylon, a little bit of damage to all of the units. He's only done about 13 damage to 1 Stalker, and he's been able to snipe off just, the original Stalker and Zealot. Now with every shot that these Marines take, they are becoming weaker and weaker. So the more time that you're able to buy, the longer that you can last, and eventually go ahead and eliminate the entire Marine force. The force fields are a little excessive, but I do understand the fact that you're trying to save your ramp and prevent them from going ahead and gaining vision to the high ground to start sniping off your key warp gate structures. Well, this is an excellent play with the blink that is, the Zealot charge that is currently on the way. The Zealots can go ahead and get up in the face of the Marines while the Stalkers are able to snipe them down from the back, do quite a bit of damage. Especially the Zealots will be able to go ahead and keep the sentries safe as well. And again, the Guardian Shields can be very, very, very effective. Now since it is a narrow ramp and the top has been blocked off, you can go ahead and you can get quite a few free Marine kills with this. But again, when the Marines are able to go ahead and able to get up on top of the ramps, it does make it extremely hard to go ahead and hold that, just with the mass number of Marines that he currently has. Let's see, he actually has 32 Marines, or 34 Marines, and he still has more that are streaming out and coming along the way. Now, if we look at the production tab, there is another Colossus that is currently in production, hiding the robotics bay in the back as well as the robotic support facility. Getting the thermal lance upgrade against the Marines is going to give you a much greater advantage. The 9 range, the Marines are going to have to cut through all of the Stalkers, the Zealots, and the Sentries just in order to go ahead and get to the Colossus. And with this, it is going to go ahead and be good game because the Marines can't bring down that Colossus fast enough. And it looks like that it was just a small misclick there. And as we can see, the Marine numbers have dwindled from 34 and counting down to about 22. Now right here you could probably go ahead and push out, putting the Stalkers up front with the Sentries and letting them take the damage, and then letting the Colossus go ahead and burn down the Marines in the back. the mass marine aggression is a very hard aggression to go ahead and hold off, even for high-level players, just because the Marines are such an inexpensive unit, and they are one of the fastest DPS units that are on the map. The only unit that is faster is the Hydralisk. And once you're able to go ahead and break your front, and when you attack, always remember to go ahead and expand, because you don't know if he has another expansion here, or if he had an expansion here, or even if he had the gold. Always try and go ahead and always try and keep thinking on economy, probes and pylons, probes and pylons. And with this is going to go ahead and this is going to be a good game. Coming up with this amount of Stalkers, as well as having 2 Colossus in order to mount through all of the Marines, since the Marines have no upgrades. They don't even have Stem Pack, they don't have combat shields, and Imp Demon is just now starting to get his gas. With this, it was very well played, and also by holding the ramp off with the force field and just buying the critical time that's actually needed. Remember, in this game, if you can buy the time in order to get the technology, you can always go ahead and sprint ahead. Thank you very much for enjoying the broadcast. Hopefully I've been able to offer you quite a few tips, and have a wonderful evening.